They've roamed the earth since time began, a poor excuse for modern men. They have no use except to cause pain. On the sunniest day, they make it rain. They think they're funny, they're not, they're sad. They think they're cool, they're not, they must be mad. They tease you and taunt you and push you around. They haunt you day and night, day and night. It's time for the world to kiss all the bullies goodbye. They make fun of others until they cry. Bullies don't belong, they ruin the song like a singer off key. It's just plain wrong. They prey on the weak, is it fame they seek? Picking on others just to feel strong. They're twisted, sadistic, shameless and ballistic, out of control, narcissistic. They break you and bash you and push you around. They hurt you day and night, day and night. It's time for the world to kiss all the bullies goodbye. They make fun of others until they cry. It's time for the world to kiss all the bullies goodbye. They make fun of others until they cry.
Wow, we just saw a video that's so important, both in the quality of the message, as well as the actual performances, as well as the words that are being said. So we're here with Sir Ivan, who is a leader in the peace movement worldwide and has been for years. And it's what an honor for Good News to be part of a celebration of your new CD. So, bullies, watch out, because Sir Ivan is here. Those eyes and everything. I got goose pimples all over the place. I'm sure you do too. Hello, Sir Ivan. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
All right, beautiful. So tell me what inspired this video about bullies. You're all pieced out here. You have peace here in your heart and your soul, and you have for so long.
Well, my late father was an Auschwitz survivor, and I lost 59 members of my family in the Holocaust. And people don't realize that they didn't just suddenly take 6 million Jews and throw them in the gas chambers and the crematorium. There was a 10-year period from maybe 1933 to close to 1943 where the world had an opportunity to nip Hitler in the bud and prevented the mass murder of all these people. And they also don't realize that it started with bullying. For years, you had gangs of Nazi thugs that would roam the streets and literally any opportunity they could. If they saw someone was Jewish, they would call them all sorts of vile names, and they got away with it. Nobody did anything about it. And the vile names turned into beating them up, and nobody did anything about it. And then beating them up led to Kristallnacht and the breaking of all the windows of all the Jewish store owners and defacing and destroying all the synagogues, and nobody did anything about it. And that involved deaths, actual deaths. And those deaths, those few deaths, soon multiplied until it became mass murder. So my theory is, whether it was the Holocaust, whether it was any genocide, if you look back to how it started with bullying and not doing anything about it. And it escalated into something and snowballed into something that became treacherous and evil and terrible for the world.
Okay. All right. And so as a result of being a good son and a good family member and someone who is not happy about what happened to your family, you've taken on, in essence, a mission to not let the world forget, I guess you can say. And you've taken it on in all aspects of your life. How come?
Well, one only has to read the paper or watch the news on any given day, and to realize that this bullying thing that we're talking about has reached epidemic proportions. You'll see it in the schools, and that's where it mushrooms into life. If you let bullying start in elementary school and the bully isn't taken care of, then it'll go into the junior high school and then the high school and then in college and then in adult life, and so it turns out that the bullying is not such a innocent thing. People think, oh, it's just name calling, but it's not. It's name calling with such viciousness that it makes the victim feel scared inside and sick inside, and so they're traumatized and they suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, and they live in constant fear, and they can't even go to school without looking over their shoulder that they're going to be attacked. And if they're afraid to go to school, then they miss out on an education, and everyone knows. And why should they be deprived of an education? Because they dress differently, or they walk differently, or they talk a little differently. They're a different color, they're a different religion, they're a different, have different sexual preference. None of these things that should matter. But these are things that bullies seize upon in order to make someone else's life miserable. So if I can do anything to decrease the amount of bullies in the world, I do it. I feel compelled to do it. If there's anything I can do to relieve the pain and the suffering of the victim, I do it. So it's a two-headed battle. It's to eliminate the cause of the problem, which is the bully, he or she. Since females, believe it or not, can be just as vicious, just as cruel, and just as nasty, if not worse than the men, and cause the same sort of damage. And that damage is not just nightmares and sleeplessness and or nausea and fear, but almost a paralysis of the soul, so that the person doesn't feel like he or she has no one to turn to, no one to help, no one to alleviate the problem. And that can lead to depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, and in the worst case scenario, suicide or attempted suicide or thoughts of suicide. And that pains me to know that a child of any age is contemplating suicide because of some horrible incident or person.
Our audience knows, since we're so involved with world peace, and we have our Peace Day party, and we're trying to throw a party, which you would love, because you're the party king of them all, a day for world peace, International Day of Peace, September 21st, a Peace Day party, okay? Because I sort of think that a party is a great opportunity for people to get together in a positive way, let down their hair, start to realize that we're all brothers and sisters, and so on and so forth. So, you, with this video, let's go to the video, because the video is so powerful, and I still have goose pimples from them, and I don't think I'm going to be able to ever look at you in the same way without looking at your eyes shining. And the power you've used Superman, you've used so many kinds of approaches to making and creating, and you have Taylor Dayne, you have to make somebody never ever forget the importance of what you're talking about, which I know is the most important thing for you. How did you think of this video? How did it come about?
Well, first of all, I don't use Superman. I'm only Peace Man.
I know you're, yeah, okay, you're Peace Man. You're Peace Man. But the Superman concept, it's as strong, it's a
superhero concept.
It's a superhero concept,
Yes.
and that's what, it's a great concept for peace.
When it comes to the lyrics, that I can take the credit for, to the song. But for the concept for the video, I have to give all the credit to Eric White. Eric White is the director and came up with a genius concept. Having the bully become the victim, change places with the victim. So he's administering the pain, the suffering to himself.
Right.
And only by doing that does he realize what a horrible person he is and what a horrible thing he's doing. He comes to see the light and realize that this is just plain wrong, and he's sorry. He actually understands that what he did was the difference between wrong and right for the first time, and then to apologize, he embraces his victim. In the three storylines, I chose a gay male, a transgendered person, and a lesbian, because the LGBT community, the teen victims, have a 4 to 5 times higher rate of attempting or committing suicide. So I used them as the example because they really suffer the worst. But it was just meant, it was symbolic. I couldn't put every bullied type of person in the video. It's a 4-minute video. It's not an hour-and-a-half movie. But the problem has to be dealt with straight people and like every religion, every nationality. I couldn't. If I were trying to choose overweight kids that were bullied, then I'd have to pick skinny kids that were bullied. And if I picked tall kids that were bullied, I'd have to pick short people that were bullied, and it would go on. It would go on and on forever.
The unfortunate reality of this is you could have a 5 billion part series.
Exactly.
A lot of people are not spoken to nicely or not treated properly.
Special needs children, like autistic children. Can you imagine it's sad enough that the person has enough trouble learning or speaking or hearing or understanding, and how could somebody want to torture somebody that's already suffering and handicapped, and that has enough challenges in the world that he or she has to face on their own?
The elderly.
The elderly too. Like I said, I couldn't show everybody, so I showed the group that suffers the worst consequences more often than those others.
Let me ask you how you think, though, about this in the big picture, okay? We know that every single time anybody ever bullies anybody, physically and or mentally and so on and so forth, it's not a good thing. But in essence, I think that it's a minority of the world. And it's a terrible minority, and it's a problematic minority, and that minority can spread because a few bullies can push you around, and the other ones join in, and then join in, and it can spread quickly, okay? But the bigger picture, the peace heart that you have a peace cape on, you have a peace piece of jewelry on you, and you have, more importantly, you have peace in your soul. I know you for a long, long time, and you're the peace man. And so, what do you think worldwide? That most of the world lives in peace and they're good, kind, loving, caring people. Are you optimistic in that way?
I can't figure out the numbers. I can only say that just like violence is contagious, peace is also contagious. So that if you spread it and live it, and teach it, and sing it, breathe it, dress it, it gets passed on to the next person, the next person, the next person, so that ultimately, in an optimistic way, you hope that more and more people will be converted or think along peaceful lines and want to get on that peace train.
Okay, all right. Well, I agree. I think so. I believe so. Now, one of the first concerts, and I know you're very sensitive to it, was Woodstock. I think that was a peace concert. So there was two ways to look at the Woodstock. Okay, it was either sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or it was peace, love, and harmony. Or some people will even say it was one of the first green concerts as well. I guess everything can take a different perspective.
Well, yeah, it was one of the only times on the planet where sex, drugs, rock and roll, and peace all worked together. They were a good cocktail.
And you support that?
Absolutely. Why not? Why not?
He's a peacemaker. So the video is out now, and do you have a website that people can go to?
SirIvan.com.
All righty. And what will people see at the website?
Well, they'll see all the songs that I've done, which have peace at the heart of them. Music, the events I've had to support peace, some of the charities that I support with my foundation, the Peaceman Foundation. It's a 501c3, and we've raised a lot of money for a lot of different very good causes.
You're a beautiful guy. Two last questions. What's good news for you, Sir Ivan?
The good news is that we've just completed. I had hired an author to complete a manuscript and a book on my late father's life, which will be a beacon of hope to the world, because he went from Auschwitz and coming to America with $240 in his pocket after suffering the loss of most of his family, and then he lived the American dream. So it's an inspiration for anybody who's been through any type of tragedy, thinks it can't get any worse, and that there's no hope, and that without education and without connections and without this, there's no chance of he or she making it. And he proved otherwise. He proved to the world that with work, brains, luck, a combination of skills, he attributed it, so a little help from the Almighty, that things can change and get better, and that book will one day be turned into a movie, and both will serve as tools to the world to uplift it in a very positive way.
Beautiful. Last question, and I'm asking these two questions to everybody, and it's always interesting to hear everyone's answers. Because we're so involved with achieving world peace with our Peace Day events and so on, we ask everybody, what's peace mean to them? So what does peace mean to you, Sir Ivan?
Peace means that the entire world appreciates the power and beauty of love.
It's Paul Sladkus for Good News Planet, Peace Day Party with Sir Ivan, actually, I will say a mentor and a friend and a great citizen on the planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you.